Welcome back to the Caspa Silver YouTube channel. In today's video, I want to talk about 5 reasons why I believe the world should want Caspa. The first reason why I believe the world should want Caspa is because Caspa offers freedom. If you don't recall, there have been many instances where Tether, which is the USDT stablecoin, has been known for freezing crypto wallets. You can see in this article here, Tether freezes 41 crypto wallets tied to sanctions. Now, a lot of these freezes of wallets are justified. They are freezing actual criminal activity. But the problem with this is the fact that they do have the power and the authority to freeze crypto wallets. And that alone completely destroys the whole entire purpose of cryptocurrency, which is supposed to be permissionless. If a cryptocurrency is built in a way that allows someone to freeze wallets, then that alone defeats the purpose of a cryptocurrency being permissionless. Yes, today Tether was known for freezing a group of wallets known to be behind some kind of criminal activity, but who's to say that in the future they're freezing wallets because the government just deems things that are criminal activity when they're really not. And this is something that Caspa solves. Caspa allows freedom. There's no way that someone can just go ahead and stop your transaction from happening on the network. And this is because of the way Caspa is built with proof of work. Proof of work allows you to also solo mine and even confirm your own transactions. And this is why it is very, very important to never keep your cryptocurrency on exchanges. If you don't recall what happened back in 2022 when Canada was having their little freedom convoy over there, the government decided to sanction more crypto wallets that were tied to the trucker freedom convoy. And this is because the government has authority to demand exchanges or any of these third parties that have control over your assets to stop allowing transactions to go through. This is why it is very important that you keep your cryptocurrency offline and off the exchanges, because when you keep them on exchanges, you don't actually own your cryptocurrency and you're not practicing self-sovereignty, which is exactly what cryptocurrency allows you to do, and especially cryptocurrencies like Caspa. Lastly, I want to show here, this is the MEV watch. And this is on the Ethereum network. And you could see that over 36% of all the blocks on Ethereum are enforced by OFAC compliance. If you don't know what OFAC compliance is, it says right here, it stands for Office of Foreign Assets Control. It's a financial intelligence and enforcement agency of the U.S. Treasury Department. It administers and enforces economic and trade sanctions in support of U.S. national security and foreign policy objectives. So basically what's happening here is that when Ethereum switched to proof of stake, there are people who are able to run the network, and these people are called validators. These validators may have some type of boost relays that are inside their validation that decides to block certain blocks because they are not OFAC compliant. There's addresses in there that the US government has deemed to be illegally using funds. And so those blocks basically just get rejected by those validators. And you could see that Ethereum, over 36% of the blocks are practicing OFAC compliance. And this is just showing how centralization is getting into Ethereum, especially when it is proof of stake, and also is just showing how centralization could get into a cryptocurrency when things aren't run correctly. The second reason why I believe the world should want Caspa is that Caspa offers protection. And when I say Caspa offer protection, I'm talking about protection from inflation. And this is because, if you don't already know, the dollar is always trending to zero. And this is because the US government continues to print money endlessly. When it comes to Caspa, Caspa will never be printed endlessly and into an infinite amount. You could see here that we have a very set schedule. This is the Caspa emission schedule, which dictates how much Caspa will ever exist. This is coded into the network so that all miners and anyone mining the Caspa network are forced to follow this rule, that the Caspa network should never have any more than around 28.5 billion Caspa in existence. You could see that this is going to take all the way up to 2037 until the full supply gets mined out. But even here is not the full supply, but by 2037 is when the last time the emission of Caspa will still be above zero. After this month right here, it will drop to under zero completely, and you're really just not getting much Caspa per block. But by that time, we're hoping that Caspa will be adopted with all the different things that are being integrated into Caspa, and fees will take over, and there will be enough usage on the network to sustain the miners. The third reason why I believe the world should want Caspa is because Caspa offers peace. I have this website here that is called Cost of War, and in summary here it says over 940,000 people have died in the post 9/11 wars due to direct war violence. An estimated 3.6 to 3.8 million people have died indirectly in post 9/11 war zones, bringing the total death toll to at least 4.5 to 4.7 million and counting. Over 432,000 civilians have been killed as a result of the fighting. 38 million, the number of war refugees and displaced persons. The U.S. federal price tag for post 9/11 wars is over $8 trillion. The U.S. government is conducting counterterror activities in 78 countries. And this is all possible because of the U.S. dollar. Because they are able to continuously print U.S. dollars into existence, they're able to continuously fund endless wars. You can even look at the war in Ukraine, and you could see that the US government continues to provide billions of dollars to that war. And then there's also war in the Middle East, where the US continues to provide billions of dollars to basically any other country which funds wars. And if the US government was not allowed to print money endlessly, people would be second guessing and rethinking about getting into war, because war is very expensive and it shouldn't be practically free, but it is free right now because you are able to print an endless amount of money. With Caspa's strict emission schedule and it not being an infinite amount of supply, this prevents a government wanting to get into war if they know that the currency they're using is not something that they can just print up and have as much as they want. So war is costly, and this is due to the fact that fiat money can be infinitely created. And Caspa solves this issue by not allowing an infinite supply. The fourth reason why I believe the world should want Caspa is because Caspa offers wealth. If we look at something like Bitcoin, Bitcoin was viewed very similar to how Caspa is viewed today in the very, very early days. But over time, Bitcoin has been losing its true purpose of being an actual digital currency and has transitioned now to being a digital gold. And by no means is this something to not recognize as important. I still believe this is a very groundbreaking technology here, and being known as digital gold is still a pretty big deal. And this is why I still diversify into Bitcoin, but not as much as Caspa. And this is because Bitcoin just offers a different type of hedge, mainly just being a better store of value than something like physical gold. But over the course of Bitcoin's cycles, you can see that Bitcoin has continuously produce wealth long term for people. And this is just mainly because of the fundamentals that Bitcoin came into the space with, and because of what it's known for and what it's known to offer people. And I believe Caspa is doing this same type of trajectory long term. If you look at Caspa, this is even the full chart because I can only get the chart all the way up to May of 2022, but Caspa started in November of 2021. You could see that Caspa has a very, very nice trajectory that cannot be ignored. How many cryptocurrencies have had a chart that looks this nice in the course of the last two into 3 years? Probably almost none of them. And if they do have a chart that looks something like this, they do not compare to what Caspa offers when it comes to its technology and the fundamentals that it's going to bring. And ever since Caspa has launched, you could see that Bitcoin against Caspa has been losing value. And Caspa has actually been the better thing to hold in the last 2 years. And I believe that in the long run, this will continue to be true. And this is just because Caspa is entering into a market that has not been tapped into. And this market is cryptocurrency. There has not been a crypto that has been able to successfully become a currency. But Caspa, I believe, is the best crypto to have the best shot at doing this. And this is a market that has not been tapped into, and I believe is probably the biggest market to tap into for the whole entire world. You see, if you're trying to just tap into smart contract world, there's basically a cap of how many people would be interested into smart contracts and would want to get involved with tokens and NFTs and stuff like that. But when you're talking about a currency, how many people would be interested in a currency? The entire world. And this is because everyone is interested in having a currency, because this is how we are able to buy our goods and services. And since Caspa is advertised and is marketed as a better currency, I believe Caspa can be adopted in third world countries where their currencies are collapsing at a much faster rate than something like the US dollar. And Caspa is a perfect alternative for those people. And because of these reasons, I believe Caspa is on a trajectory to continue with massive adoption. And I believe it's going to experience a similar type of long-term run that Bitcoin experienced in the very beginning days of its life cycle. And because of this, if this holds out to be true, I believe Caspa will be able to provide wealth for people and create wealth for people. Now, obviously, this is not guaranteed. This is not like financial advice. And this is just my opinions based on my research that I believe Caspa long-term is one of the best investments for the next decade, and why I'm going to just be focusing on dollar cost averaging into Caspa and then a little bit into Bitcoin still as well. And now the fifth and final reason why I believe the world should want Caspa is because of the transparency and trust that Caspa has. When we look at Bitcoin, Bitcoin has a very unknown founder, and we have no idea who originally created Bitcoin, but that is unique to Bitcoin, and I believe that in itself is a feature for Bitcoin. But when it comes to Caspa, I don't believe if Caspa had an anonymous founder, it would do too well, especially in today's world and how far cryptocurrency has come. I believe it is important that we know the people that are behind Caspa. And the good thing is there's a lot of transparency when it comes to Caspa. The founder is known, and a lot of the core developers and researchers are all known, are very active on the Discord. And you can even talk to them, and they're very, very willing to answer questions and describe the technology of Caspa and what it brings to the table. But these core people are not all who work on Caspa. From my knowledge, there's over 20 people now that have been working on Caspa, that are developers that have been contributing to Caspa in some sort of way. And this goes for just different types of teams for different things, like the marketing side of things of Caspa, or people who are developing wallets for Caspa. There are just tons of people that are continuously getting into Caspa that are all working together to meet a common goal, and that is just getting Caspa adopted to the masses. Caspa also is proof of work, and because of proof of work, it has a lot of trust. And proof of work is also completely open source. This is the GitHub for Caspa. You can check the code for Caspa and verify that everything that's going on with the network is legit, and there's no type of malicious code in there to commit some malicious attacks on the network. And lastly, I believe Caspa is becoming the standard for proof of work. And this is a really good video to take a look at, because it gives the differences between proof of work and proof of stake. And I believe proof of work just creates a much more trustworthy system. And there should be a link that should pop up on the video, so you can go ahead and check this video out talking about proof of work versus proof of stake and why I believe Caspa is becoming the standard for proof of work moving forward. Before I go, I want to show you guys some ways that you can support this channel financially. If you guys are interested and you guys appreciate the work that I do here, the first thing you could do is, if you're on your desktop, you can click this icon right here and click to do a super thanks. And this is a way that you can donate a little bit of money depending on how much you want to put. And you can create a comment down below that I will see on the video. And that way, if you have a question that you really want to be answered, you can consider leaving a little financial donation. And possibly I can even make a whole dedicated video on answering your question for you. But this is just a way that you can support me. Another way that you can support me is by becoming a YouTube channel member. This is very similar to joining the Patreon. It gets you basically the same type of access regarding the private Discord, early access to all new videos that come out. You can track my crypto portfolio and also see my stock portfolio. And you can also be a part of helping Caspa grow, because I do not use all the money for myself just to keep it. I actually donate some of this money into a fund so that we can vote as a community when we should give it to one of the funding proposals that Caspa is having, so that we can help with future developments of Caspa. YouTube also does take a 30% cut of this revenue here, so I only do get 70% of this. And then if you guys are interested in joining the member, you'll just get some badges that appear next to your name, depending on how long you've been a member. You'll also get custom emojis, but these are just two ways that you can support me, either doing a super thanks or becoming a YouTube channel member that gets you access to the private Discord that has a lot of like-minded people like myself. So please consider doing that if you do want to support me financially. But if you don't want to support me financially, the best thing you can do is leave a like on this video, subscribe to the channel if you guys are new around here, and just watch the videos all the way through to support the algorithm. And lastly, I hope you guys did enjoy this video. And as always, don't be average, be different.